Hello, entrepreneurs, accountants, bookkeepers, tax preparers, and future world class Philippine accountants. Joe DeChara, CPA, coming to you live from downtown Metro Manila for another amazing interview with an amazing person. And you can see this beautiful woman that's centered right in the middle of the spotlight here, Marielvic Ababa. Did I say that right?
Right, Joe?
Okay. So thank you for again agreeing to being tortured. I mean, interviewed by me, because this is our second go round, right? And
Right,
and
Joe.
I think the first one we talked about, who you were, you know, what your background was. I learned a lot about you. You have your own agency now, a growing, successful agency. Uh, you are a student of ours, a former and future student, because we just keep producing courses because we believe in teaching people not only uh, the technical part of accounting and taxes, but how to work with you as business people. And one of the ways that we do that is we bring on interns, right? So that they can get hands-on experience. And have you finished or you're about to finish your 6 month commitment with us?
Yes. In about 1 month from now, we will be finishing. That's exactly on November 13th.
Okay.
Yes.
November 13th. So that'll
Yeah.
we'll have a big party for you. We'll have a virtual celebration. Uh,
Thank you, Joe, in advance.
yeah. So just so people know a little bit about you, I know that did you sign up like right before tax season
Sign up for what,
for the
Joe?
third? You took the 13-week course, correct?
Not yet, Joe. Only
Okay.
the 5-week
Okay.
course.
So you took the 5-week Drake course, and
Yes.
and so we ask our top students to be, if they want to get hands-on experience as an intern, and you did, and we appreciate that because we found that the interns, uh, it's good for the interns and it's good for us because we get uh, very, very dedicated people like you to do a lot of the work, and it's good for the interns because you actually got hands-on experience, right?
Right, Joe. And it was really very it's a learning experience for me, especially I'm used to the local tax preparation, and usually we don't use software, but during the internship, so a lot of software and tools. So
We
I've
use
learned
a
a
lot.
lot.
We use a lot of software, right?
Yes, and
I
tools.
mean,
Yes.
yeah. Not only to do the taxes, but I mean to communicate. We use Slack. We have a task system that it's an online database to manage the different tasks that we have. Uh, but what I'd like to talk about, because you're in a position that I think a lot of Philippine accountants are in. You have an existing agency, right? You have a bunch
Right,
of
Joe.
clients. Uh, and so, first off, what I'm curious about is what led you to want to learn U.S. taxes, because you already have a successful practice. So, what made you take this on?
So it all started when I enrolled, say, the TBSA community. So And then I learned about, actually, I'm really after only the softwares. So I can help my local clients. But then, during when I was already online and I can see different courses, and I come upon Bedrock, and it's about U.S. taxation, and it's aligned to my local taxations. So I told myself, why not try to learn this U.S. taxation, because it will be easier for me. I always say to myself that it will be easy for me because I already have the experience locally, and it's already easy for me. Uh, we will just learn in the course. So during the course, you told us about the great storm of opportunity. So that strike me a lot because you see the statistics of 30 million small business owners, and only around 250,000 tax preparer. So that sparked from me that uh, I have a lot to learn, but I can help. Aside the local, I can also help. I can try the foreign U.S. taxation. That's really
Okay,
my.
that's interesting. So you said something you thought it would be easier. Explain, what did you think was going to be easier?
It's actually, Joe, it's not easy when I'm inside already of the internship. So the income tax preparation of US is quite complex compared here in the Philippines. And the business tax is much easier. But then the income tax really is quite challenging for me. And
Well,
I have a lot to learn. I have a
yeah,
lot to learn.
so do I. Listen, I'm doing this 40 years, and it's a moving target, and it's not always the laws that trip us up. It's how the government has been operating. That's the real challenge now for somebody that's been doing this for 40 years. Uh, they pass a law, we could figure it out, we look at the instructions. But the real challenge for me has been uh, trying to, get our clients their returns processed on time with a U.S. tax system that's broken. And I don't know if you actually got exposed to that, but Luz and Catherine and I meet all the time, and we're usually meeting because there's some kind of issue. A client got a notice, they don't process the returns on time, they reject them. But let's get back to, because I really like to know. Uh, so you expected incorrectly that it was going to be easy, right? You said it was going to be
Yes,
easy. So I laugh when people say that because I say, be careful what you ask for. Because we always get what we ask for, but it's not always what we thought. So what I know is, because I've been in the Philippines a while now, I actually opened my own corporation. I closed it because it was actually a lot more complicated than it is to open a business in the US. Uh, it's from what I understand, and you could tell me a lot better because now you have the actual experience with Philippine taxes, and now you see the US taxes. To me, the systems are completely different.
yes, different.
What's your take on it?
Yes, actually, it's because in the Philippines, it's very different. Maybe because in the Philippines, I find it easier because I already practice it for almost 10 years. But then for the US taxation, it's the first time that I, uh, I, ano ba, I delved on it through the internship. That's why really I wanted to qualify for that internship. So after 1 year, after 1 year from the date of our graduation, that's the time that Miss Luz informed me that if I wanted to be an intern. So it's very different, Joe, and a lot more to learn for U.S. taxation and
I, yeah,
taxation. A lot more to learn. Even for 6 months, I can say that I'm not totally knowledgeable about taxation in
I
the U.S.
I think I'm pretty certain that you're right about this because when you look at the enormity of the different economies, I mean, we have over 33 million businesses. Okay, some of them, like the construction industry, can get extremely complicated. The restaurant business in the United States. I mean, just something as simple as, in the United States, we don't have VAT, we have sales tax. And the sales tax gets added to the bill. So it's separate, it's another line on it. So when I get my bill, I just ate at a restaurant today, I get the bill, it's including the VAT. So now you have sales tax to account for. But then even more complicated is the servers get a tip, and that has to be accounted for. So imagine sometimes the tips are included on the credit card, so it's part of the accounting system. But a lot of times they get cash. So, we have a former student, Malona, and she started doing a lot of restaurant accounting. Uh, so you could just look at those different industries. I don't know if you have those kind of complications in the Philippines. And then you have the state taxes. So not only do you have the federal, right? You have all
Yes.
the states to deal with.
So,
But what about the accounting? Because that was one thing that I thought was totally, completely opposite from how we do things in the United States. So, from what I understand, the Philippines, you have to have all your receipts, correct?
yes, correct, Joe. That's the supporting document for every transaction so that it will be credited as a creditable expense from the income tax payable.
Yeah. And now, do you have to attach the receipts to the tax return?
No, no, Joe. We
Oh,
have to file that. You have to file, and then for 5 years, so that when auditors or the BIR audits, so we will present that.
so you have to keep the records for 5 years.
Yes,
But now
yes, Joe.
you're doing the accounting from your client's receipts, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
based.
And then you have to certify, or do you have to go? Are you a CPA?
No, Joe. I'm not a
Okay.
CPA. So I have for those gross sales more than 3 million. Those are uh, taxpayers that needs to be certified by uh, public accountants. So
Okay.
I have
So
my I have a partner CPA. I have a partner CPA who signs for the certification.
okay. So if it's more than 3 million pesos in revenue a year, the tax return has to be certified.
Yes, and they will be VAT registered already. They qualify for VAT.
Okay, that's a high standard. So, in the United States, we don't look at receipts. In fact, the accountants usually don't want to see the receipts because it's actually the client's responsibility. They're supposed to keep the receipts and have, a record keeping system, but we go right from their statements. So we do the accounting right from the statements. How did you find that? Was that surprising to you?
Actually, that's it's not surprising for because I understand that it's already digitalized in the US compared to accounting system in the Philippines. So I'm not really I'm what I am really up to is to learn the software to
Yeah.
learn the software, the tools. So
I never, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm trying to learn more about the Philippine culture and the mindset, so that we can provide more insight, more training. So I never thought about that. That a lot of the accounting in the Philippines is done manually by hand, right?
yes,
So
right,
you're
Joe.
not using, you're not
So
always
Joe,
using. Yeah, go ahead.
actually by hand, but then I delegate it to the staff of my clients. So if you want Joe to have insights of Filipino accountants or bookkeepers, we are hungry for uh, learning. Sometimes uh, we have to enroll or educate ourselves. But then there are times that we have that constraints, financial, time, but we are really have that passion to learn, especially handling or navigating the tools, the softwares. In due time, uh, the, uh, the landscape of bookkeeping and accounting will be digitalized. Maybe perhaps in due time, the books of the taxpayers in the Philippines will already be softwares. So that's why I am really learning because it will come.
Yeah. You want to know something? Because when I started, everything was manual. There were no desktop computers. They didn't even exist. They were just being created when I first graduated from college. So I learned manually. And then I remember when the software started coming in, it was a paradigm shift because then accountants, the question was, how are we going to use these tools now to make our jobs easier? And you want to know what happened? It didn't make it easier. It complicated it. And because I see now, Mario, generations of accountants that have learned how to do accounting with programs like QuickBooks. Okay. And QuickBooks isn't even an accounting program. So they
True.
missed out on the basics, the fundamentals that you still employ,
Yes.
right? And to learn taxes on a computer program. So I see generations of accountants now that really spend more time entering data thinking that they're doing accounting, right? But they're not doing account. They're just filling in data. Would you uh, what's your take on that? Because now you see the Philippine system, you're doing it manually. You see how we do it in Bedrock, right?
Yes. So, Joe, I am still for the basic, though the phases of accounting, starting from bookkeeping, up to trial balance, and then up to, you know, we used to prepare the worksheet from the trial balance, the worksheet, we extend that. Adjustment first, if there are adjustments, and then we extend that to the PNL and the balance sheet. So it's still the basic. It's even if we have these tools or softwares, we have to know the basics so that
Yes.
when we navigate, when we navigate the, we have to the asset, the normal balance of the accounts. So we have to, that's the very basic and the chart of accounts. So for the tools, uh, it, it will lessen our time to make the reports, and it will aid in productivity and efficiency of the, as long as those who handle are expert. So we Filipino we Filipino accountants and bookers are not that expert, uh, not all. So that's our reason why we educate ourselves. We are passionate to learn that. tools, but we know the basics. We know the basics.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the, one of the things that attract me to this culture. And even my coach, Larry Broughton, uh, who is a world class entrepreneur, has a tremendous hotel and restaurant business. Uh, he says it too. He's like, the Philippine people are hungry for knowledge. And he
Oh,
compares it to the way it was in the US 30 years ago, 40 years ago when I went to school. People wanted to learn. And unfortunately, things have changed in the US. And when I live here now, and I say this all the time. So it reminds me of when I was growing up. The family traditions, the culture, even it's Christmas here now. It's Christmas
yes.
here now. I love it.
You're
Uh,
fortunate, Joe, to be in the Philippines.
when I told my family, because I remember last October I got a Christmas tree, and they were like, "What's wrong with you? It's not Christmas." I was like, "It's Christmas here in the Philippines." So yeah. So let's talk about what I call it the perfect storm of opportunity. And what I'd like to know, because now you have a better handle on what the opportunity is, what do you plan on doing with it? What do you plan on doing with this knowledge that you have now?
So for my knowledge that I have now that I have gained from Bedrock, from your brain, I have picked from your brain, Joe. So it can really help me a lot in practicing my profession as bookkeeper and accountant to help my clients. Especially, I'd like to help them learn what I've learned too. Because as of now, the fact that I'm delegating and teaching the staff of my clients and they appreciate it, then I can also teach them so that, kumbaga, they will also learn and lesser work from me, from my part. So
Yeah.
that's it. And they really appreciate. We Filipinos are appreciative when we help them. We help our clients.
Yeah. And so do you plan on getting any US clients?
Sure, Joe, sure. I'd like to have one. One only is enough. One only is enough. As long
Let me,
it's direct client. And if I really have to pray for that kind of client who is kind, so that's it. That's my avatar. My client avatar for a US client.
you want one client.
One client will just ripple. That will be a ripple effect later,
Yeah.
just like in the
So
local.
you could have, so do you want one big client?
Uh, Actually, I specialize in startups and small business, just like you, Joe.
Yeah.
So it's good to start with small business owners.
Yeah.
So startups.
Okay. I could relate to that. So you start with one. So you mentioned, the opportunity. And when I, fell into the opportunity of teaching Philippine people American taxes, uh, it's sort of like it connected the dots for me, Mario, because my my mission is to help all those small business owners, all those startups, uh, succeed in business, and it's actually become, you know, keeping them out of trouble. When I started, it was Bedrock Business Builders, and I wanted to teach them how to build a foundation for their business. And since COVID happened and all this other stuff, now we've changed the branding to Bedrock Tax Solutions, because in teaching and seeing what's going on in the US, I said there is a tremendous opportunity, not only for US accountants like me, but for accountants like you. And let's see, we have Deck here, and Christina, and Vivian. Uh, it's a tremendous opportunity because, and I could go through statistics. A lot of people are, and you said about the courses, there's a lot of courses out there now. There's a lot of, so when people, Philippine people, see that they can become freelancers, right? Then you got to decide, okay, what do I want to learn? Because you can't learn everything, right?
True.
So with our Jumpstart community, what's becoming clear to me is that's the community where we're showing people these are what your options are. Okay, this is the path that you can take. You can learn Canadian taxes. You can learn Australian taxes. You can learn US taxes. Now, what's the difference? The difference is there's 33 million businesses in the US. There's not even 5 million in Canada and Australia combined. So right there, if you're looking for an opportunity, where would you choose? You want to go with the smaller pool of businesses or the larger pool? The other thing is, and Larry says this, that people in the United States have money. And when I say that, I don't mean that they're rich. Even people that are broke have access to money because they borrow money. American people borrow money. If they don't have it in their
Credit
bank,
cards.
they're going to borrow it on. In fact, when Luz is here, I'll never forget. She asked me, "How come all of our clients have like 15 credit cards?" And it made me think. And I said, I looked at my wallet. I had 12. I said, because it's the American way. They want us to borrow money. They want us to spend money. So that combined with what's going on with the IRS, I just, I get emails from the IRS so that I see exactly what's going on from the government standpoint. There's something called a tax gap, and it's a number that is it's the difference between what the IRS says that they should be collecting and what they actually collect. And this is mind-boggling. It's almost $700 billion in uncollected taxes, and they want that money. So because of COVID and all the money the U.S. spent, they passed laws saying, hey, how do we collect this money? So there's going to be tens of millions of not only business owners, individuals that are going to have the IRS hounding them like they never did before. Add to that the fact that there's already not enough accountants. If I'm an accountant in the Philippines and I'm looking for an opportunity, I'm going with the US taxes. Now, the other thing is, a lot of people, and again, I'm learning about the culture. And we had a team meeting yesterday, and I'm like, what is this, uh, about Philippine businesses? Like, they want to make people retire. Like when you reach a certain age, they force them to retire.
65. We have that age, 60,
65.
mandatory age. So
That so that makes me laugh because if you know my story, my mother didn't learn bookkeeping until she was 65. So her accounting career actually started when she was 65. It's totally,
okay.
people in the US a lot of them can't retire. They have to work into their 70s and their 80s because the cost of living is so high. And it's not like here where like the children take care of the parents, right? People retire here and then the children, it's not like that in the US anymore. It used to be, but it's just a whole different mindset. So I'm coming here, I'm like, what do you mean they make you retire? Uh, That doesn't make sense to me. So, and that's why I say, you know what? You can retire if you want, but now you have a choice, right? You don't have to retire. You can learn to work from home. You can get your own clients. All right. To me, I get excited about this because it's economic empowerment. It's economic empowerment. There's too
Empowerment.
many people are poor, uh, and too many people just accept it, Mario. So when people like you, like Luz, like Juliet, they take the. So I have so much respect for you and Juliet in particular because I'm like, you already have a business, right? You could say, hey, I'm comfortable. I have a business. I don't have to go out and learn US taxes, right? You didn't have to
Right.
do that. I mean, we've had students that I know one, she told me that's a whole nother story. She had a lot of kids to feed, so she was like, I wasn't retired. I had to do something to help my husband feed my kids. Uh, so, what's the next step for you?
So for after, meaning after my internship, Joe,
Yes.
so I will continue by serving my clients and then scout for that one avatar US client. For
But you
for
also
just,
you did something that a lot of people don't do, and it holds them back because when you get to like 30, 40 clients, it's too much work. It's too much work for one person
yes,
to handle. But what you did was brilliant. You started teaching your clients how to do the the grunt work, right?
yes, right, Joe.
Yeah. So that's a lesson for people that are just starting out. I got my mom. I got my mom. The My limitation was in the U.S. I couldn't find people that were going to work. That's the truth. It's not just accountants. It's in the U.S. There's a work shortage. There's a worker shortage. There's not enough workers to work in the restaurants, in the retail stores. I go into a store here and there's 5 people ready to help me. I go into a retail store in the US, you got to look. You got to find somebody to help you. So it's a
Yes,
totally, totally different mindset. Uh, one of the things, one of my jobs is to just educate Philippine people about listen, it's real. You can work from home and you can get clients in the US. You could get them in Canada and Australia and probably the UK, anywhere. But you got to do what you've done. You can't just sit there. You got to take a course. You got to take action, right?
it's because when we learn, we are confident. We are confident to face our prospective clients if ever. So we
So
really learn.
you have a lot of friends here. People have been Agnes, Deck, Luz is here, Rona. We have Christina, Vivian. They've all been watching and listening to you. So uh, again, I want to thank you for your time, for your service. and I want you to promise me that you're going to keep paying it forward. You're going to teach people, you teach your clients, you teach anybody that you come in contact with, and you let them know that you know uh, you don't have to settle. You can
Yes,
make
Joe.
your
Yes, Joe. Somebody actually, when they learn that I will be retiring from internship, they are messaging me. How do you find the internship? So I took the time for 6 months, no pay. What Why do you think that I have done that? It's because I want to learn. Anyway, 6 months without pay is just temporary. But the result, the uh, after that, you are already confident, and uh, it's helping your future clients so that you can help them. So with new learnings and with new, ako, I personally plan to push on digitalization. Of course, with the basic. I teach them the basic, the principle.
right.
So,
So what sticks out to you the most as your experience? What did you learn that you
so
would want to pass on to other people?
yeah, the technical skill on softwares and then communication and time management. So I've learned a lot. And thank you. I
Yeah,
especially thank your team, Joe, especially Miss Rona, Miss Kat, Miss Luz, Miss Eileen, Miss Ellen, and the other back staff,
interns.
staff, uh, uh,
Yeah,
interns, and especially Miss Juliet, the support. Really, very supportive family. I
yeah.
considered Bedrock as family. Yeah.
Me too. We are a business, but I like to treat everyone like their family, and it works. It works. So God bless you, Marielle. What's your last words of wisdom for your followers, for the people that are going to watch the
Okay.
recording?
Okay. So for those who are who wanted to uh, go for the U.S. Corporate taxation or bookkeeping and accounting, you have to really uh, be committed to learn, to upskill, so that we can serve better our clients. And for those who don't have clients still, we really have don't lose hope as long as we take action. We take action. There will always be results. We
Awesome.
just be we just be resilient and committed, so that don't lose hope. And also, please also, we always pray. We always pray that God will give that we will be successful in our career as freelance bookkeepers, accountants. So that's it. And thank you, Joe, for that opportunity and privilege for having me in your team as intern. So I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot.
It's my pleasure, Marielle. And so I have our Jumpstart PH URL going on here. Uh, if you're not in the Jumpstart community, you need to join. It's free to join. We have a large, growing Facebook community, and we have a lot of things going on. A lot of exciting announcements about what we plan on doing in the future. Most of it is based on what Mario talked about tonight, which is education. Education in the software and how to communicate. Uh, you know, to, Tomorrow we're actually Coach Yan Yan and I are going to do a deep dive into actually how does she get clients on LinkedIn, Upworks, and online jobs PH, because that's something that we never really covered. You know, she teaches it in her class. So uh, if you're not part of the community and you want to learn how to nail an interview, either with an employer or nail an interview with the client, Marianne is one of the best that I've ever seen. And I'm good at it. I can get clients, but I don't go on interviews. I don't go on interviews. So it's going to be a really good Saturday morning workshop. So that's our story, Marielle. Thank you all for
Thank you.
watching and for being part of the Bedrock family. And the best is yet to come.
Thank you,
God
Joe.
bless. Have a great
God
weekend. Thank
bless.
you.
Thank you.